Hey guys, welcome to Austin, Texas. Welcome to the Bronco Off-Rodeo. That's what it's called. A giant collection of Broncos on a huge network of trails. But this is one of the most exciting videos that I'm gonna do at this event. A comparison of the old first generation Bronco to the brand new 2021. So let's get right into it. Now this Bronco you see behind me is a 1971 Ford Bronco. This was a first generation of Bronco. They built them between 66 and 1977, and it was built to compete with vehicles like the International Harvester Scout, models like the Jeep CJ5, open top two-door vehicle. Now they built these in three different configurations. There was a Roadster, which had no top, no doors. Imagine selling that today. There was a half cab, it was called, which was like a little baby pickup truck. And then there was the more traditional wagon that you've probably seen around, the one with the flat roof that extends to the rear. Now, if we take a look at the new Bronco, you can't get the Roadster. So if you buy a new Bronco from a factory, it's gonna have a roof. Probably a good thing. You can't get the half cab, the little pickup truck. They all come as the wagon style, so they've got roofs, but you can get a soft top and a hard top, and for the first time ever in the Bronco you can also get 2- and 4-door configurations. This one is a 2-door. It's kind of the most pure expression of the Bronco in my opinion, but yeah, obviously pretty big differences there. Other big differences, the engine options. So this old Bronco had a choice of straight 6 and V8 engines. This is a 71, so it's got a 302, pretty sure it's 302. Yeah, 302 V8. It makes somewhere around 25, 30 horsepower. 5 liters of displacement. You can get them with both manual and automatic transmissions. We actually had a 289 half cab Bronco with a 3 on the tree. That was a ton of fun to drive, but not very efficient. Quite quick, because the thing is the size of a kumquat, and it's got a big old naturally aspirated V8, but not very efficient. Now the new Bronco, quite honestly, not very efficient either. EPA rating, depending on the configuration and depending on the package, somewhere in like mid-teen, 16, 17 combined. This one has a choice of 2 engines, a 2.3 turbo and a 2.7 twin turbo. Both have 300 horsepower plus, so much more power. And then transmission-wise, there's a 7-speed manual and a 10-speed automatic. One of the coolest things, though, is the similarities in design. If you look at the front of this Bronco, iconic. Round sealed beam headlights with the turn signals mounted inboard. You've got kind of this egg crate style grille with Ford written across proudly in big bold letterings. This is a white painted grille contrasted against this nice light blue. Quite a bit of chrome down front. The new Bronco has retained a lot of that same basic proportion. So round headlights with the turn signal now incorporated into the headlight on this particular unit. But you get kind of the same expression of the round and then the square, the round and then the square. That egg crate style grille still more or less present. They did change the word Ford to a big bold Bronco along the front. I don't really like this thing. Side tangent. This triangle that sticks up, it kind of looks like, is it a brush guard? Not really. It blocks part of the Bronco. If you're gonna get one of these, maybe skip the weird little brush guard thing. But apart from that similarity, take a look at this. If you look on top of the hood, we've got these little lines that extend up, create a plateau, and then make their way sloping down toward the hood. This lifted contour on the top of the fender and the hood, it's iconic to the Bronco. And if we step over here to the old one, you'll notice the exact same line. I love how they continue this heritage of this little hump that extends from the front and then fades away toward the back. We also see a little bit of that on the hood, so we got a pretty prominent hood bulge on the old 71 unit. The new one still has a slight bulge, maybe not quite as prominent, but there it is on the new one. Some changes on this new Bronco. You've got stuff like this, these little hooks, which can be great for limb savers. Also great if you're looking to tie down longer items from the roof. Pretty cool piece of tech. But look at the height difference. I'm 6'1". The old Bronco comes up to right about hip level. This new one, chest all the way. This has got something called the Sasquatch package. This gives you 34.4-inch tall tires from the factory. It's insane the amount of ground clearance this has, but it's such a bigger vehicle. And part of that size is also in the structure behind the rear end. So these old Broncos, there's no rollover protection. Don't roll one over, because you're not going to end up walking out of that one. Whereas the new one, of course, has to have rollover protection, has to have airbags. So some of that size is incorporated there. But once again, The side belt line here comes up to right around chest level. On the new one, basically at the neck. It's where we're at there, so it's interesting to see those design differences. This line is very similar, the way they've continued this flat, continuous crease along the side of the vehicle, quite similar to the new one. I love that. Tail lights, see a lot of emphasis in tail lights. These old Broncos share this tail lights with like the F-100s of the era. The new Bronco has continued that squared off, tall, rectangular taillight here in the rear, and I love that they've continued the spare tire. The old one has it mounted in the rear on this carrier. The new one also mounted on the rear, this time on the swing gate, which is currently locked. But let's go ahead and take a look at the interior, because we see some interesting things on this old Bronco. So, low back bucket seats on this model. A bench, I think, was available, if I remember that correctly. 2-spoke steering wheel. I love this. Really thin. I mean, it's thinner than my pinky in a lot of ways. Automatic transmission on the column in this model. We've got the J shifter, 4 low, neutral, and 4 high here, but no locking differentials. You know, there's no sway bar disconnects, at least, you know, automatic ones, maybe if you get a wrench out. Bit of a padded dash on this one, on the 71, but steel main plate on the dashboard. And the gauges, this is pretty interesting, are on the left side of the column. I'll get a shot of that. You see that? They're over here, and we've got, you know, some basic temperature, fuel, alternator, oil pressure, and then speed, of course, is over on there too. And this button is for the dual tanks, because this vehicle has 2 tanks. Roll up windows, vent windows. God, I love vent windows. This needs to come back. Now, some of these older Broncos, 71, I think this would have had electric, what are they called, wipers. But the one we had vacuum wipers, which was a problem. So good to see that the vacuum has gone away and the tech has moved on. But let's go ahead and check out the new Ford and see how the interior compares. So, this one has had some fun in the dirt, I think, because it's quite dusty. There's a lot of similarities between the two when you look on the outside. Stepping inside, the similarities really die down. There's not much of a you know, a lineage to be drawn between the first and the brand new Bronco. That isn't to say, though, that this interior isn't very nice. So this one is a first edition, full leather wrapped steering wheel, leather seats. This one has manual seats, but you can get it with power and power lumbar on both sides. Automatic headlights, adaptive cruise control. It's got lane departure warning. It has, if you look in here, Andre, a digital instrument cluster, and then in the middle, 12 inches of screen. That's right, 12. It's just monstrous. Down here, dual zone automatic climate control with air conditioning, of course. Air conditioning is standard in the new Bronco. Wireless charging tray. And then the 4-wheel drive selector. No longer a big J shifter. In this one, just push some buttons. It's got off-road modes as well. And up here, check this out, front locker, rear locker. It has a turn assist function, sway bar disconnect. I mean, they've really advanced this vehicle's off-road prowess and capability, which is always good to see. Underneath, the new one, independent front suspension. The old one, solid axles, front and rear, which is a little bit of an interesting comparison. The new one, it's got electric wipers, always a good thing, and they hinge from the bottom, always probably a good thing as well. The windshield doesn't fold on the new one, though, so I think the older ones you could fold the windshield. I'm quite sure of that, but the new ones, it is not possible to do so without a Sawzall. Probably not recommended. Let's go ahead and check out the rear storage compartment. One of these days, I'll remember to unlock it. All right, here we go. So I like this feature a lot. Look how far this extends. All the way out. That's well beyond the 90-degree angle. Great for loading things in and out. Decent amount of room back here as well, it's worth noting. Slight bit of under floor storage there. And the seats are able to fold as well. They don't fold quite flat, there's still a small hump, but it's nice to have that adjustability. If we take a look at the old one, so swing out tire carrier on this one, pull the lever, that's going to swing all the way out, and then this will fold down as such, and it's got stays on both sides. So it's got a tailgate, which is a little bit of a different design, and then the seat is easily removable on these old ones, so if you want like more of a bed area. These were built largely as, you know, utility vehicles. As another option when you were looking at like a truck, for example. You didn't have to get an F100, you could get a Bronco slightly smaller, but still had a lot of payload and storage capabilities. But a really unique opportunity to see the two side by side. And let me know what you think in the comments section below. Do you like what they've done with the new Bronco? I think it's a great homage to the first one. They've really knocked it out of the park in so many ways. But check out TFL Classics for more classic vehicle reviews, because this was a ton of fun.